Welcome to the Best 5. Today, where we will 5 notorious Japanese serial killers. These individuals have committed heinous acts that have shocked the nation and left an indelible mark on history. So brace yourselves as we step into the shadows of these real-life monsters. Number 5. Tsutomu Miyazaki. Born in 1962, appeared to lead a normal life. He worked as a typesetter and lived with his parents. However, Miyazaki's childhood was marked by physical deformities and bullying, which led to his social isolation and an unhealthy obsession with horror films and manga. Between 1988 and 1989, Miyazaki committed a series of gruesome crimes that shocked Japan. He abducted and murdered 4 young girls, aged between 4 and 7. Miyazaki's method was chilling. He would lure the girls into his car, drive them to secluded areas, and then commit unspeakable acts. He also mutilated their bodies. Miyazaki's obsession with horror earned him the nickname, the Otaku Murderer. His apartment was a disturbing reflection of his mind, filled with thousands of horror videos and graphic manga. This collection was a crucial piece of evidence that led to his arrest in 1989. Miyazaki was arrested in 1989 and stood trial for his heinous acts. In 1997, he was sentenced to death. Throughout his trial, Miyazaki showed no remorse, claiming an alternate personality had committed the crimes. He was executed in 2008, bringing an end to his reign of terror. Number 4. Hiroshi Maiwe, one of Japan's most notorious serial killers. Born on August 8, 1968, in Osaka, Maiwe's ordinary exterior hid a deeply disturbed mind. From a young age, Maiwe exhibited troubling behaviors. By his teenage years, he was already fascinated by watching others suffer. This dark obsession would only grow more sinister over time. With the rise of the internet, Maiwe found new ways to satisfy his perverse desires. He frequented online suicide forums, pretending to be a sympathetic listener, but his intentions were far from benign. Between 2005 and 2006, Maiwe lured 3 vulnerable individuals through these forums. He convinced them to meet in person under the guise of a suicide pact. Maiwe's method was chillingly calculated. He strangled his victims, relishing their final moments. His killings were driven by a need for control and a morbid fascination with death. Maiwe's reign of terror ended in 2006 when police traced his online activities. His arrest led to a sensational trial where he showed no remorse, calmly detailing his heinous acts. In 2007, Maiwe was found guilty and sentenced to death. His lack of regret and the sheer brutality of his crimes left a profound impact on Japan. Number 3. Futoshi Matsunaga and Junko Ogata. Futoshi Matsunaga, born in 1961, was a man of charm and deception. Raised in a seemingly normal household, Matsunaga's early life showed no signs of the monster he would become. However, his dark side emerged as he grew older, marked by a series of petty crimes and manipulative relationships. Junko Ogata, born in 1962, was a quiet woman who fell deeply under Matsunaga's spell. Their relationship began in the early 1990s, and she soon became his willing accomplice. From 1996 to 1998, Matsunaga and Ogata committed a series of horrific crimes. Their victims were often people they knew personally, friends, family members, and even Ogata's relatives. Matsunaga was a master manipulator, using psychological and physical torture to break his victims. He employed methods like electric shocks, starvation, and relentless beatings, turning his home into a house of horrors. Their victims endured unimaginable suffering, Matsunaga's control over Ogata was such that she participated in the abuse and even facilitated the killings, believing in his twisted logic and fearing his wrath. Their reign of terror ended when a survivor managed to escape and alert the authorities. In March 2002, Matsunaga and Ogata were arrested, exposing a web of cruelty that shocked the nation. During the trial, the extent of their crimes was laid bare. Matsunaga showed no remorse, often smirking during testimonies, a chilling reminder of his lack of humanity. In 2005, he was sentenced to death, while Ogata, seen as both a victim and perpetrator, received a life sentence. Number 2. Saito Sakakibara, born in 1982, seemed like an ordinary boy, but beneath his innocent exterior lay a deeply troubled mind. In 1997, the city of Kobe was gripped with fear as a series of brutal attacks on children began. The perpetrator was not an adult, but a mere 14-year-old boy. On March 16, 1997, Sakakibara committed his first known attack, injuring 2 schoolgirls with a hammer. But his most infamous crime occurred on May 27, 1997, when he brutally murdered 11-year-old Jun Hase. Hase's decapitated head was found at the gates of his school, accompanied by a disturbing note. The note, filled with rage and boasting of his crimes, was signed Saito Sakakibara, a name that would soon become infamous. The public was horrified. The brutality and the age of the killer shocked the nation. The police were under immense pressure to find the murderer who seemed to be taunting them. The breakthrough came when Sakakibara was arrested on June 28, 1997. His confession revealed a disturbing fascination with violence and death, driven by a desire for recognition and power. Because he was a minor, Sakakibara's real name was not revealed to the public during the trial. He was sent to a juvenile reformatory, where he spent several years undergoing rehabilitation. His case raised serious questions about juvenile crime and rehabilitation in Japan. In 2004, after serving 7 years, Sakakibara was released, a decision that sparked public outrage and fear. Since his release, Sakakibara has lived under a new identity. In 2015, he published an autobiography, Zeka, revealing chilling details of his crimes and thoughts, reigniting public debate and controversy. Number 1. Hasegawa Ida was born in 1908, during a time of great change in Japan. By the 1940s, she had become a figure of fear and infamy, known for her cold-blooded crimes. Ida's modus operandi was both cunning and ruthless, targeting vulnerable women and children. Her spree began in 1948, when post-war Japan was struggling to rebuild. Ida used this chaos to her advantage, posing as a kind-hearted woman offering help to those in need. But behind this facade lurked a predator. Ida's first known victim was a young woman who had trusted her. She lured her into a remote location, where she was brutally murdered. Over the next 2 years, Ida's body count grew, and the authorities were baffled by her elusiveness. Her crimes spanned across multiple prefectures, making it difficult for the police to connect the dots. Ida's intelligence and meticulous planning allowed her to stay one step ahead of the law. But in 1950, her luck ran out. After a botched attempt to murder another victim, Ida was finally captured. Ida showed no remorse, and her cold demeanor in court only added to her notoriety. She was convicted of multiple murders and sentenced to death. In 1952, Hasegawa Ida was executed, bringing an end to her reign of terror.